You didn't see it coming. Nobody ever does. That's the thing about this kind of destruction. It doesn't arrive with a warning. It doesn't show up wearing a mask. It shows up wearing a smile. It shows up as the best thing that has ever happened to you. And by the time you realize what's actually happening, you've already lost yourself. This is your life as a narcissist's victim. And if you think this couldn't happen to you, it already might be. Let's go back to the beginning. You are a normal person. Maybe you're kind. Maybe you're a little too trusting. Maybe you've been through something hard before, a bad relationship, a difficult childhood, a loss that left a crack in you that never fully healed. That crack. Remember it. Because a narcissist doesn't find victims randomly. They hunt by scent. And that crack in you? To them, it smells like an open door. The first time you meet this person, something feels different. Not wrong. Different in a way that feels almost electric. They look at you like you are the only person in the room. They listen to you, really listen, in a way that almost nobody has before. They laugh at your jokes. They finish your sentences. They seem to understand you on a level that takes most people years to reach. Within weeks, maybe days, they are telling you that you are special. That they've never met anyone like you. That something about you just gets them in a way the world never has. You feel seen. You feel chosen. What you don't know yet is that this is a technique. It has a name. It's called love bombing. And it is one of the most psychologically sophisticated manipulation tactics in human behavior. The narcissist is not falling for you. They are building a cage, and they're decorating it so beautifully that you will walk inside it yourself and lock the door behind you. Here is what's happening inside their mind while you're falling. A narcissist does not experience connection the way you do. To a clinical narcissist, other people are not fully real. They are objects. Resources? They are mirrors whose only purpose is to reflect back a perfect image of the narcissist themselves. Psychologists call this narcissistic supply. It is the emotional fuel the narcissist requires to function. Admiration. Control. Power. The feeling that they are exceptional, superior, above the rules that govern everyone else. You are not a partner to them. You are a supply source. And right now, in the beginning, you are giving them everything they need. Your attention. Your admiration. Your time. Your emotional energy. You are the best source of supply they have ever found. So they pour everything into locking you in. 3 months in. Maybe 6. The relationship feels like a fairy tale. Your friends notice something. They try to say it carefully. You seem different. We never see you anymore. Are you okay? You brush it off. They don't understand. They've never had what you have. But something small has already shifted. The first time it happened, you almost missed it. A comment that landed wrong. A moment where they looked at you with something cold behind the eyes, just for a second, before the warmth came back. A time you expressed a need and they made you feel stupid for having it. You told yourself it was stress. That everyone has bad days. That you probably overreacted. That thought, I probably overreacted, will become the most dangerous sentence in your life. Because the narcissist didn't react badly by accident. They did it on purpose. This is the moment the second phase begins. The love bombing ends. Not all at once, that would be too obvious. It ends slowly, like someone turning down a dial. The compliments become less frequent. The attention starts to feel earned instead of given. They are still wonderful, sometimes. But now there are conditions attached that were never there before. Psychologists call this phase devaluation. You are being downgraded. Not because you did anything wrong. Because the narcissist got what they needed from the chase. The hunt is over. Now comes the control. And control begins with confusion. They start saying things that contradict reality. You remember a conversation clearly. They tell you it never happened. You express a feeling and they tell you your feelings are wrong. They do something that hurts you. And by the end of the argument, somehow you are apologizing to them. Every single time. This is gaslighting. And it is not a metaphor or an exaggeration. It is a deliberate psychological technique designed to make you doubt your own perception of reality. The goal is to make you dependent on the narcissist's version of events, because once you stop trusting yourself, you have no choice but to trust them. You start to feel like you are going crazy. You are not going crazy. You are being driven there. Deliberately. Methodically. By someone who has done this before. Meanwhile, something else is happening. Your world is getting smaller. It started small. A comment about a friend that made you pull back slightly. A reaction when you spent time with family that made it easier to just cancel. A subtle but consistent message that the people who love you don't really understand you, but the narcissist does. Isolation is not accidental in this dynamic. It is strategic. Because a victim with a strong support network is a victim who might leave. A victim who might get an outside perspective. A victim who might one day hear someone say the words clearly. What is happening to you is abuse. The narcissist cannot allow that. So the circle closes. Slowly. Until one day you look around and realize the only person you have left is them. You are now completely inside the cage. And the most terrifying part? You still love them. Not the real them, you've never actually met the real them. You love the person they performed in the beginning. The person who made you feel chosen. That person lives in your memory like a ghost, and every time the narcissist is cruel, your mind goes back to that ghost and asks, what did I do wrong? How do I get that person back? This is not weakness. This is not stupidity. This is your brain doing exactly what trauma-bonded brains do. The psychological term is intermittent reinforcement. Pain and reward delivered unpredictably. It is the same mechanism that makes gambling addictive. Your nervous system becomes chemically dependent on the highs because the lows have been normalized. You are addicted to someone who is destroying you. The arguments are different now. They don't just argue, they obliterate. Every fight becomes a referendum on your worth as a human being. They bring up things you told them in confidence, your fears, your past, your insecurities, and weaponize them with surgical precision. They know exactly where you bleed. Because you told them. In the beginning. When you thought you were safe. You try to leave once. Maybe twice. Each time, something happens. They collapse. They cry in a way you've never seen before. They become the person from the beginning again, the love, the intensity, the promises. Or they rage in a way that frightens you into staying. Or they simply rewrite the story until you believe that leaving makes you the villain. This cycle, idealize, devalue, discard, hoover back, is the narcissist's complete operating system. And most victims go around that loop 7 times before they get out. 7 times. Somewhere in the middle of all of this, you stop recognizing yourself. The person you were before, your opinions, your confidence, your sense of humor, your dreams, has been slowly, systematically dismantled. Because a confident victim is a dangerous victim. A victim who knows their worth might one day decide they deserve better. The narcissist cannot allow that. So they work on your self-image the way a sculptor works on clay. Every day, a little more removed. Until what's left is someone who believes, genuinely believes, that they are lucky to have this person. That nobody else would want them. That this is the best they will ever get. That is not love. That is psychological demolition. And here is what makes this the most invisible form of abuse in the world. There are no bruises. There is no crime scene. There is nothing to point to. When you try to explain it to someone who hasn't lived it, the words sound small. They were mean to me. They made me feel bad about myself. They controlled who I could see. It sounds like a difficult relationship. It is not a difficult relationship. It is a calculated, sustained psychological attack on another human being. Carried out by someone who knew exactly what they were doing from the very first conversation. And you survived it. But survival is just the beginning. Because what comes after, the rebuilding, is the hardest part of all. You are out. Or maybe you're still in it, watching this and feeling something shift in your chest, a recognition you're not ready to name yet. Either way, something brought you here. And that matters. Here is what nobody tells you about leaving a narcissist. The relationship ending is not the hardest part. The hardest part is what happens inside your own mind after. Because the narcissist isn't just in your life, they are in your head. Their voice has replaced your own. Every decision you make, every thought you have about yourself, filters through the framework they built inside you. You're too sensitive. Nobody else will want you. You're lucky I stayed as long as I did. You hear their words in your own voice now. That is the real damage. Not the relationship. The colonization of your own self-perception. The world will not understand what you went through. People will say things like, "Just move on," or, "Why did you stay so long?" As if those questions have simple answers. As if you chose this. As if you walked into that cage with full information and a key in your pocket. You didn't. You were engineered into it by someone who had spent their entire life practicing. The average narcissist has run this exact cycle on multiple people before you. They are not amateurs. They are deeply practiced psychological predators operating on instinct honed over decades. You were not weak. You were targeted. There is a difference. And that difference matters more than almost anything else in your recovery. Let's talk about what actually happens to your brain. Neuroscience has a name for what trauma bonding does to the human mind. When you experience the unpredictable highs and lows of a narcissistic relationship, your brain's dopamine system gets rewired. The same reward pathways that govern addiction begin to govern your attachment to this person. This is why you can know, logically, completely, with absolute certainty, that this person is destroying you, and still feel a physical pull back toward them that defies every rational thought you have. You are not weak. You are withdrawing. And withdrawal is a physical process that takes time, support, and in many cases, professional help to get through. You cannot think your way out of a trauma bond any more than you can think your way out of a broken bone. The narcissist is not finished with you when you leave. This is the part most people don't expect. Narcissists do not let supply go easily. When you distance yourself, one of two things happens. Either they hoover, pulling you back with sudden warmth, promises, vulnerability, the ghost of who they pretended to be, or they discard you with such cold finality that it creates a new wound entirely. The message being, you are never worth keeping anyway. Both are tactics. The hoover is designed to retrap you. The discard is designed to destroy what's left of your self-worth so that you either come crawling back, or you spend years trying to prove them wrong. Neither one is the truth about your value. Both of them are the narcissist's last attempt at control. Recovery looks nothing like the movies. It is not linear. It is not clean. There will be days, weeks, months, where you feel yourself healing, expanding, becoming someone recognizable again. And there will be days where one song, one smell, one random Tuesday afternoon sends you back to the floor. That is not failure. That is how trauma heals. In spirals, not straight lines. The question survivors always ask is, why me? And the honest answer is both harder and more freeing than most people expect. You were targeted because of your strengths, not your weaknesses. Narcissists do not choose broken people. They choose empathetic people. Loyal people. People with deep emotional capacity, strong nurturing instincts, a genuine desire to see the good in others and help people grow. They chose you because you were capable of the kind of love they needed to consume. That capacity did not disappear in the relationship. It was suppressed. Hidden under years of being told it was too much or not enough. It is still there. And it is the exact thing that will rebuild you. There is a version of you on the other side of this. Not the version from before the narcissist. You cannot go back, and honestly, you would not want to. That version didn't yet understand what you now understand about human nature, about your own worth, about the architecture of manipulation. The version on the other side of this is someone who cannot be taken apart that way again. Not because they've become hard, but because they've become clear. Clear about what love actually looks and feels like. Clear about the difference between intensity and intimacy. Clear about the red flags that once looked like excitement. Clear about their own value, not because someone finally confirms it, but because they've done the work to know it themselves. The narcissist took years from you. They took your confidence, your relationships, your sense of reality, your trust in your own mind. But they could not take the fact that you survived it. And survival, real survival, the kind where you come out the other side and understand what happened and refuse to let it define your ceiling, that is something no narcissist, no matter how skilled, can ever manufacture. Because it's real. And they have never once in their life produced anything real. You have. And that is where you begin.